talk to us? Are there any spirits in here? How many spirits are present?
Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate you stopping by. This is Mario once again with Parasitic Paranormal. I am here in the outskirts of Atlanta, beautiful Atlanta. Um, Lots of rain and overcast, mugginess, and definitely not motorcycle riding weather. That's for sure. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me with my paranormal podcast. I truly appreciate you guys dropping in. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's, I guess, kind of recovering, and at the same time, I hope everybody's doing good in this situation that we're going through economically. Things are pretty bleak right now. So I just hope everybody's doing good. Anyways, so today's show is basically going to be and this is about a 20-minute show, but I'm just gonna go over just a few findings that I found on the web, some resources. I am pretty familiar with the topic, as I've been familiar with this since I was young, since I was experiencing issues myself at 3 a.m. in the morning, the witching hour. When they say that 3 a.m. is when the veil gets thinner, which is when we're able to communicate better with spirits. We're able to gather more evidence. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. So I am doing this a little bit on the fly. Actually, my introduction, I did it this morning. Somehow, I don't know how, I wiped it out. But anyways, this is my podcast. It almost feels like I'm just kind of doing this all over again, brand new. It's gonna get better and better every time you listen to the podcast, as I'm gonna have more resources, more information. I'm definitely gonna share with you guys all the information I can get to give you knowledge. We'll learn things together. I'll talk about my experiences as I grew up in a very active house. Grew up in an active house, and then later on, in my adulthood, when I got a little older, I got into ghost hunting. I did it for about 4 or 5 years, and that's pretty much it. So if you listen to my other podcast, you'll learn about a lot of places that I've been to, a lot of experiences, and when I go over my experiences, I try to make it as raw as possible. I don't try to exaggerate. Really, underneath my skin, I'm probably more of a skeptic than I am of. I am definitely a believer because I've been lucky enough to actually catch some very solid evidence. I've been able to see almost full-bodied apparitions. I've seen entities. I've even been able to experience some poltergeist activity. So it definitely piqued my interest once I got back into this, back into the field. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for dropping in. Please stay tuned. You're going to really enjoy this, and you're going to learn a little bit about the meaning behind 3 a.m. And the veil thinning and the witching hour. So hope you enjoy the show, and here we go. Take it easy, guys. But anyways, I had a couple of experiences. Also, right around that time, right around that time, the time when I was waking up, right around 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna dive into those experiences, but first thing, before I do that, I did want to just go over. I did a little bit of research, and I found a couple of good sources that goes over the 3 a.m. witching hour, quote unquote. So I did find something. I did find something on good old Wikipedia, and it was a pretty interesting article. So it does tell you about the origin of 3 a.m. in the morning, the witching hour. But it says here, it says the origin. I'm gonna just read it to you guys. It says the phrase "witching hour," quote unquote, began at least as early as 1775 in the poem "Night Night and Ode" by by Reverend Matthew West. Though its origins may go further back to 1535 when the Catholic Church prohibited activities during 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. That's very interesting. Time frame due to emerging fears about witchcraft in Europe. Oh, okay. In the Western Christian tradition, the hour between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. was considered a period of peak supernatural activity. This time is also referred to as the devil's hour, due to it being a mocking inversion of the time in which Jesus supposedly died, which was 3 p.m. So, kind of interesting. Oh, I see. I see what they're trying to say there. So, 3 p.m. would be like the polar opposite of 3 a.m. So, 3 a.m. is kind of like the mocking of the Trinity, I guess you could say. Um, Very interesting. So that's kind of originally where it came from, according to Wikipedia. And it says it goes back to 1535. So that was long ago, but I figured it would have gone probably even longer than that. So it says here there are multiple times that can be considered the witching hour. Some claim the time is between sorry guys, 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., while others claim there is increased supernatural activity between sunset and sunrise. The New Zealand Oxford Dictionary identifies midnight as a time when witches are supposedly active. During the time in which the term originated, many people had sleeping schedules that meant they were awake during the middle of the night. Nonetheless, there is psychological literature suggesting that apparitional experiences and sensed presences are most common between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., corresponding with a 3 a.m. peak in the amount of melatonin in the body. Interesting. Melatonin, too, huh? Melatonin's good stuff. I like taking that once in a while. But it says here the most common between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., corresponding with a 3 a.m. peak in the amount of melatonin in the body. So, all right, so your body naturally produces melatonin, and I guess that's right around the time when it's peaking. Very interesting. So, that's just a natural chemistry in your brain. As a matter of fact, melatonin right here. Oh, I like the way they lay this out here. It's a natural product found in plants and animals. It is primarily known in animals as a hormone released by the pineal gland in the brain at night and has long been associated with the control of the sleep wake cycle. Very interesting. And nowadays we can get them in gummies. How about that? How about that? Artificial melatonin. Um, but anyways, very interesting. So there's a couple things going on at 3 a.m. There's the old folklore, which I believe actually, I did find another article. It does go all the way back to the medieval times, because Shakespeare also had a passage in one of his writings that spoke about it. So, but I believe back in the medieval days, 12 o'clock was more of like the witching hour. Um, and actually, I was able to, let me see. I do have that article right here for you guys. Here, where is it? Where is it? I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. Nightmare of Elizabeth King. Well, I found it somewhere before. When I run into it, I'll let you guys know. Anyways, very interesting. 3 a.m. really is an interesting time. Um, it is supposed to be when the veil is at its thinnest, and that's the veil between um the the us as human beings, the live human beings, and the other dimension with the spiritual world. So 3 a.m. is when we're supposed to be able to get a glimpse of the spirit world that's kind of shining and kind of glimmering um, through that veil. And if you think of a veil, it's basically just think of somebody walking with a veil. It's a very thin material, a little thinner than a curtain, and so that's why they refer to the veil. The veil is thinning. It's a thin veil where you can kind of get a glimpse of what's beyond that veil. So supposedly at 3 a.m. and from what I've read, it's usually between 12 midnight and 3 a.m. when the veil is a little thinner. I can definitely say from experience, the places I've been to, a couple of haunted locations I've been to, that I have gotten the most activity usually during that period of time. And I think it has a lot to do with there's very little noise pollution at that time. Everything is very still at that time. Um, you really don't have a lot of traffic. People aren't really moving around too much. Um, other than maybe you might have some remote factories, or I'm I'm sure the world keeps spinning at 3 a.m. So, but supposedly that's when everything is really still, and I can say from experience that that's when I've caught some unbelievable evidence. Then again, I think one of the things I did catch a piece of evidence around. It was probably more closer to 5. I do have a video on my YouTube channel, which I got to check. It's been there for a couple of years, but when I went to Waverly Hills Sanitarium, I was in the body shoot. For those of you that aren't familiar with Waverly Hills, it's the big, one of the biggest hospitals over here in the South. Well, it's, I guess, closer to the mid, closer a little up from the South. But anyways, it's in Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. It's a nice, big, humongous. It looks like a castle. I believe it's 3 buildings, kind of joined together, making I guess you could say, a semi octagon. Huge, humongous, awesome place. I was there. I got the privilege of spending a whole night there. But there is a place called the Body Shoot, where they when people were dying of when people were unfortunately passing away due to tuberculosis, the amount of bodies, the amount of people that were passing away was so huge that they had to end up like using this. Well, originally the tunnel was supposedly a way of people getting into the building. Um, but if you go there now, you'll see that there's a flat slab that goes all the way down, and then part of it is stairs, part of it is a slab that goes down, and that was made for taking the bodies down, or the coffins, or whatever type of containers they would put the bodies in. But it's called the Body Shoot, and I was in there close to 5 a.m. in the morning, and we did see something that appeared to be like a nurse that was coming up the stairs. The guide that was with us started taunting her a little bit, and you can actually see her kind of floating around and coming up the tunnel. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I remember I just gotta also say, when it was far away, you could see it started off. You can definitely tell it wasn't any type of effect. Um, she basically gave us the right of way to go down the steps, but our small group decided to stay because during that time there was a lot of spiders, a lot of critters, so we just kind of stayed at the top. But you could see a little glimpse of a light, and that little light, it looked like a firefly, just kind of floating around. That little firefly ended up turning into like a lantern. So once it got a little closer to us, I guess the spirit was coming up the stairs. The entity or the spirit matter was coming up the stairs, and you could start clearly seeing the like the silhouette.
Well, are there any spirits in here you'd like to talk to us?
All right, there we go. Yeah, so that scared the daylights out of me. Anyways, guys, so yes, that was a pretty cool experience. That did happen right around close to the witching hour when I caught that. But anyways, there was a lot of other things that happened around that year period when I was waking up at 3. Oh, that's right. I did tell you guys I was gonna come back to that. So I did have an experience where something popped up in the mirror. Right around when I was 13, there was a tragic. Somebody tragically passed away that we knew very close to the family. But anyways, just make long story short and just kind of give you guys the scoop on what happened. When I looked at the mirror, it was an experience that I don't even like to remember because it was very traumatizing for me. I did lean up. It was kind of dark in the room, but not dark enough. I could still see a little bit of light was coming into my room from the street light that was outside. um, we had one of those right across my house. There was a couple of those lampposts, kind of reflected light into the room. So I can kind of see I can still see the silhouette and the facade of the mirror. But looking at the mirror, a face appeared. I have no idea why he needed to bother me. you know, why he had to come and scare the crap out of me. But his face appeared in the mirror. It was shaking. It looked sweaty. It was kind of fuzzy. It almost looked like looking at a really old staticky TV, and you could see a shape in there, but you can't tell what it is. But you could definitely see his face, and when I looked at it closer, I could see that it was him. I knew who it was. His head was shaking. It looked sweaty and almost looked bloody. And it looked like he was trying to somehow come through the mirror. So very scary. And I remember I didn't want to wake up my parents. I didn't want to bother anybody. So I ended up just going back to sleep. Um, I had several other experiences. I'll just share one other one with you. Um, right around that time, I remember I was real sick. I had a really bad fever. I had a flu, and my mom had, I guess she had come into the room. It was super late at night. I was already passed out. But according to her, she opened up the door, and again, my room, it's, I had, of course, I had some shades. I had those blinds that those just the regular blinds that you have, plastic blinds. But you can kind of see a little bit of my room. Um, my mom opened up the door and looked at the my headrest. She was checking me out, see if I was okay. And on my headrest, according to what she told me, she saw something on there. It looked like the shadow of a gargoyle. She wasn't. See, the funny thing is she's not huge into. She's not like a paranormal fanatic or somebody that just jumps and starts claiming that there's things. She is a skeptic. She's a believer, but she is also partly skeptic as well. I mean, so I knew she wasn't making this up, but she did tell me that she just stood there and froze, and she was looking at my headboard, and there was something on top of my headboard that looked like possibly like some kind of like an evil angel, I guess you could say. But that was right around that time when I was waking up, and it lasted almost a year. And then after that, I guess maybe puberty started kicking in, and my thinking, my mentality started changing a little bit. I started sleeping more, and I was kind of over that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to let you go. I got to clock out of here, and I have to clock into work in just a little bit. I know this show was just a little bit rushed. I am gonna try to make these a little bit more juicier, more details, and just have a little bit more material for you guys next time. Again, I'm beginning. This is like the beginning of me coming back and coming back to you guys, and hopefully, I'm gonna start doing some events. I'm gonna start going out to some locations, and maybe even have some things I can go ahead and plug into YouTube, some videos. Been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now. I really enjoy it. Enjoy being able to explain a lot of these experiences I had growing up in my old house. Pretty neat stuff. So, anyways, I'm gonna go, guys. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I will be back soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Muchas gracias, todo mundo. You guys are great. Thank you. Deuces. I'm out.
Well, there's spirits in here like you talked to us. Are there any spirits in here? How many spirits are present?
That's okay.